quite literally in Barnes and Nobles. Like I just saw this. Like,
Can I pause you there?
Yeah.
Is it Barnes and Nobles with an S?
I
thought it was just Barnes and Noble.
Is it not
there an
Barnes and
S?
Nobles?
I thought it was just Barnes and Noble.
You could be right.
Because it's really bugging me. You said it twice, and let me just double check you there. I gotta get a Barnes and no. There's no S. You idiot.
Welcome back to the Two Ramble podcast with Richard and
Austin.
There we go. Yes. This is going to be, to like people like my mom who says that I talk too much in the podcast. Guess what?
Right.
Guess what? We're gonna double down. This whole day is about John Gwynne's The Bloodsworn series. Specifically about The Hunger of the Gods, which just recently came out. Clarification, I did get a review copy from Orbit, which I think is pretty cool. First ever review copy of a book. However, I got impatient, and so I bought the book before the review copy came in. So I have 2 copies. So
2 copies of Hunger of the Gods?
Yeah.
Am I pointing at the right one? Yes.
Yeah, there we go.
So this is a cool format. I have not read these 2 books.
Yeah.
Richie has read these 2 books in this series. So we're going to kind of approach this in a way of him convincing me to read the books. So if you guys out there have read them and are looking to see someone's perspective that whether he enjoys them or not, he's going to rate them. Mm-hmm. And if you've never read these books, just look at me and be an audience member like me, seeing if we should read it or not.
So instead of a standard kind of review, it's me trying to convince you to actually read these books.
Yes.
So I will keep it as spoiler-free as possible, except for if I'm talking about characters in this book, obviously they survived this book. I will cut at that point if you don't want to be spoiled for that. But other than that, I will not spoil anything beyond that.
Awesome. Let's get into it then. Start us
All right.
off.
So Shadow of the Gods came out a little while ago, I believe 2 years ago. Maybe a year and a half ago.
Okay.
Ish. And came out of the gate with one of the best covers in modern fantasy. Just great. It delivers on the promise of big dragon. So, big dragon, tiny people. The series is about a Norse mythology fantasy world. The gods are real, and they look like that. One of the coolest things that really turned me on to the book is when I was flipping through it in Barnes & Nobles, the front cover has a picture of the map of the world, and in the northern part of the world, the mountain range is actually a gigantic snake, like the bones of a snake, the dead god. That makes up the mountain range, is the bones of a dead god. And one of the cities is inside the skull of the snake.
That gave me butterflies, and that's not a good thing. Like that's not a normal thing to happen.
No, that's what got me to read the book. Like the cover and then the map, super cool off it.
Is this set in medieval time, technology-wise, swords and bows?
Viking.
Oh, Viking. Okay.
Yeah.
You did say that. My bad. So it's swords, shields.
In a book and in storytelling, what's your kind of favorite stuff to read about? What's your favorite kind of plot lines and things?
Favorite plot lines, good revenge stories, always great, but I love a nice fellowship. So if there's a band, if there's a team that gets together, we have a whole journey with me and a couple of other people going around and going to put the ring in Mordor.
Well, you get a little bit of both, and you get both in this one.
You get revenge and you get fellowship.
Oh, yeah. So there are 3 POVs in Shadow of the Gods, and one is, if you don't want to be spoiled at all, don't, stop here. I'll be talking about basic plot of what the story's about.
Hey, I haven't read it here. I'm ready to don't spoil it. Just give a
exactly. Yeah. So one character, her name is Orka, and she is a Viking mother who goes on a quest of revenge to get her son back and to avenge her husband. That's her thing.
Cool.
She is by far the best part of the book. Like, kept me coming back. I love Orka.
Is she named Orka after killer whales?
I have no idea, but that works.
Okay.
Maybe.
I'm imagining she's just.
I'm probably pronouncing
badass.
it wrong too, because like that's just my American head. Like,
Got it.
I can't pronounce many of the words in here.
What was it? Orca?
Something like that. Like
It has to be Orca if it's Orca, right?
Orka.
Oh, it's Orca.
Orca.
Ah,
Like, I don't
yes.
know, something like that. Anyway, so you got that. You got your revenge story.
Okay.
Then you got Varg, and he joins a sort of fellowship. It's your classic slave to, like, your underdog slave story becomes free and joins this, like, really well-renowned fellowship, this group, this hunting mercenary band.
So I unironically gave you my two favorite genres without knowing what this was. We didn't plan this. Those are my two favorite genres in fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's revenge and it's fellowship.
Yep, basically.
That's sick. Is there any other genre mixed in there?
There's one,
Any other trope, maybe. Maybe we're using the wrong term, but...
So I guess, I don't know how you would describe this trope. So there's two. There's the slave joins the ragtag group, joining the fellowship kind of group.
Okay.
Then there's
Is that a little hero's journey, maybe?
Quite a
Slave
bit.
to hero type thing?
Oh yeah, like your classic underdog story.
Got it.
And then you have your last one, which is, I guess, the weakest aspect of this book. It is a story of... Honestly, I can't even remember her name.
It's
That
bad.
hurts. No, I mean...
The other two names are sick. It's Orca and what'd you say? Varg? Varg? My
yeah,
God.
so...
Don't want to mess with
The
Orca
only
and Varg.
problem... Thing is, she's actually... Elvar.
Elvar.
She gets much better in book 2.
Okay.
It's far more interesting. But in the first one, it's good. She's kind of on a journey to get gold. And she wants to make it on her own without her father's influence. So her father's an important person. She wants to get beyond his shadow.
Okay.
And, that's her story. Not as interesting. Cool action. Enjoyable. But the emotional heart is Orca. And then Varg as well.
Okay. What would you give this first book? And is it called Shadow of the Gods? So I have
Shadow
that
of
right.
the Gods. So, yeah.
Shadow of the Gods, what's your rating? Because we have a rating system here where you'll give your out of 10 rating, but also we go break down to 5 categories.
So yeah, I give this one a 7.6.
7.6 out of 10 for the book.
7.6, which for me, that's a dang good score.
That's
good.
good.
That's a real
Especially
good
for
one.
a book. You're pretty critical on books.
Yeah, I try to be pretty critical on it. Like
Just because you've read a lot. So you have a bigger perspective.
Like I would rate John Gwynne's other series, Faithful and the Fallen, which I liked. I very much enjoyed. It got better every book, but I would rate it less than this series.
So this is a 7.6 out of 10. Then what about the 5 categories?
5 categories. Emotional impact, give it a 7.5.
Okay.
And it would be higher if not for Elvar. Orca, like, if it was just Orca,
10.
10.
Okay.
I love Orca. She's great.
What about Varg? Where's love for my guy
Varg's
Varg?
very good, but not as good as Orca.
Okay.
Like, she was so good that I really wanted just more of her. That's not fair to Varg or really Elvar, but anyway.
Gotcha.
Then characters, 7. Same deal. Really like Orca a lot. Very much enjoy Varg. Other than him being a slave and kind of... He's an insert. He's more of an insert character where he doesn't know much about the world. So you're the reader. So you kind of find out a lot more about the world through him.
Nice.
Wish there was more. There is. We'll get to that later.
We'll get to book 2, yeah.
And then plot, solid 7. Very enjoyable. Very good.
Okay.
Nothing like kind of blew me out of the water of like, where's this going? Like I kind of knew where stuff was going.
It's nothing groundbreaking, but it's a fun plot.
But I very much enjoyed the plot. So solid is a 7, is a solid score for me. Dialogue's an 8. I enjoyed the Viking language, like the Viking sounding words, and just it definitely added to the. It didn't feel like your classic medieval fantasy where it felt unique using the dialogue. So that's enjoyable. And a bunch of new fantasy words added in. Really kind of really tied it together.
Nice.
World building, 8.5. The map.
So really good world building.
Oh yeah, world building.
That serpent.
Oh yeah, the serpent is so cool. And the world building of it and how many different creatures and how the gods have left this impact on the world and they're physical and real. It's kind of a cool aspect of they treat their gods very negatively.
Awesome. So your category by category total is 7.6 for the total of the book.
Yeah.
Recommend.
Yeah. Very, very much recommend, and especially because the second book gets better.
Awesome. So it gets better.
Definitely read it.
So second book, what is the overview of this? Is Hunger of the Gods? Did I get that right?
Yep, you got it. Okay. Hunger of the Gods. So I gave this one an 8.4 out of 10.
That's pretty high for you.
That is pretty high.
That's solid. Ooh.
Well, especially because Elvar's storyline in this one significantly improves.
Okay, so for Elvar from book 1 to book 2, Elvar gets significantly better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Orka is just as awesome, maybe even a little better.
So 10.1, how's that possible?
I know. Yeah. Exactly. It's so she's knocking it out of the park.
Okay.
Varg maybe dips a little bit of interest in the second book. Just about as good as the first, but
okay,
less page time devoted
it's still
to it.
Viking story continuation from book 1. What is there a different tone? Is there a different genre? Does it go after different stories? It's still revenge focused?
Yes, it is revenge focused. However, the first book is almost nonstop. It is a rush to the end.
So someone here loves revenge stories.
Yeah.
Get on it right now.
It is a fast paced book.
Okay.
Second slows down a little bit. Takes a bit more time. Yeah, exactly. So pacing wise, slow down a bit. I like that. It explores way more of the world.
Through
goes
Elvar?
more through all of the characters actually. Okay. But the reason why I think you should definitely read it is because I've known with I remember you telling me don't bother watching Game of Thrones at this point because the ending.
I don't.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't.
Because the ending sucks and it just gets worse, And I would think that way of a lot of other different properties where maybe it starts out great, but ends poorly or just gets worse.
Yeah.
Honestly, honestly, Star Wars is at that point,
The newest trilogy. I don't think anyone loves it.
It's such a mixed bag.
But
why
you're saying
get
for
started?
this, it's getting better.
Exactly, it's getting better. Covers are awesome. It's a unique setting. Oh, from last week, this will carry over better. You wanted out of the Northman.
We just watched the Northman, a Viking movie. Yeah.
Last week and all.
Yeah.
You wanted from the Northman a good, awesome Viking story.
Yeah.
Viking revenge story. This Viking revenge story.
Nice. Okay.
So I'll give it that.
This can supplement.
Yes, exactly. So for the categories, I gave emotional impact for Hunger of the Gods an 8.5.
Okay.
Characters an 8. Plot an 8. Dialogue 8.5, same as before. Dialogue world building a 9.
Hit the 9.
Yep, world building can hit the 9 there.
Then what is the total out of 10 for Hunger of the Gods?
8.4.
8.4. So 7.9, then 8.4. Mm-hmm. Recommend. Would you say highly recommend?
Definitely.
Okay.
And I am.
So series is a total. Read this.
Oh yeah, I'm very excited for the third book. I think it's going to be a trilogy.
Okay.
I think.
Any ETA and when it's coming up? Didn't this just come out recently?
It did. It came out just I think less than a month ago.
Okay.
So pretty early in.
And what about the author, John Gwynne? Am I saying his name right?
Yeah, he's a fairly new author. I get not really, but
so he has that trilogy. Is that behind me or
four
books?
So 4 books in that series. That's in the Faithful and the Fallen, and then there's also a sequel trilogy or quadology.
Okay.
After that, which actually takes place in the same world, but 100 years in the future.
Is he known
have not
for
gotten
the
to that
series?
one yet. I mean, it was his first.
Got it.
I'd say he's probably more known for this book.
Okay.
Mainly the cover, but the book is like, I think his best work so far. So this is his best series to go.
How'd you discover him?
Quite literally in Barnes and Nobles. Like I just saw this. Like,
Can I pause you there?
Yeah.
Is it Barnes and Nobles with an S?
I
thought it was just Barnes and Noble.
Is it not
there an
Barnes
S?
and Nobles?
I thought it was just Barnes and Noble.
You could be right.
Because it's really bugging me. You said it twice, and let me just double check you there. I gotta get a Barnes and no. There's no S. You idiot.
You know what? I'm gonna keep calling it that.
I'll do it purposely, just to piss me off.
Yeah. At this point, like I call things what I want. Like I call Catan instead of Catan or whatever it's supposed to be.
I'm gonna call this Hungers of the God. Add plurals everywhere. But okay, John Gwynne, what do you think?
But yeah, I really like John Gwynne. You look up a picture of him, he looks like a Viking.
Okay, now I gotta look up a picture.
He looks just so cool. I'm very much a fan.
The picture I look up of him, he has a shield behind him. That's not even fair. What?
He has a glorious beard. Just
Did he pay Google or something to make this picture look that badass?
He looks majestic.
He does. I'm gonna put a picture of him up here because that's actually badass. Okay.
So yeah, I'd highly recommend it. I'm trying to think of anything else to convince you. Like, well, I don't know if that's much of a convincing. I know you love Kaladin.
From Stormlight Archives, of course.
Where this has a tinge of Kaladin.
Although my second favorite character in Stormlight, because I hold a special place in my heart for Dalinar.
Dalinar is the best.
Yeah. Or Adolin. Oof.
Is there any of that? Nah, there's no Dalinar equivalent in.
There's no Dalinar anywhere. He's one of a kind.
Yeah, that's. I'm trying to think. Is there like a Dalinar equivalent in any of these?
Is there a more badass? Would you say? Okay, here's a good comparison. Who's more badass, Orka or Dalinar?
Oh,
because Orka, from what you said,
I'll be honest, and I love Dalinar. Love him. That's a hard question. I think they're pretty close.
So that's the biggest thing you could have done to convince me to read these books. That did it. Because if you're saying Orka in here competes with Dalinar's epicness, that's saying a lot. That's some big praise to John Gwynne because
there's something just so cool.
I say that as if he's watching, like, big praise to you, buddy. Yeah.
Hey, person at Orbit Books, send this.
Yeah,
his
imagine.
way.
Yeah, they're watching, going, these kids.
But no, Orka is. There's something so raw and awesome about like just this mama bear's rage, but just especially in this book, you see this like kind of tough Viking woman. Right. But there's so much history to her that you don't know, and how just brutal she can be when you're standing in the way of her kid. So good.
All right.
It's so enjoyable to watch her. Like,
I'm down with that. Mm-hmm. Okay. So overall recommendation. Recommend. Hopefully they're in.
Yeah, let's hope. Let us know if you've actually read the book or if you're planning on reading it. Highly recommend just for the covers alone, just to put that on your bookshelf of. Honestly, I kind of want a poster of them.
Yes.
They look pretty good.
They do look sick. And feedback for this one, if you guys like these kind of book reviews, let us know in the comments below.
That's, I'll be honest, half the reason why I wanted to do this podcast is so I could talk about books more often. Then I realized that my friend and co-host doesn't read all the books that I read, so it makes it a little difficult.
I try my hardest.
I know. Well, you're busy doing literally the podcast.
Yeah, this takes a while to edit.
You do that, you're trying to write, like, I get it. It's just sad for me. Like, I have all these books I want to talk about, and, like, you've read 2 of them. 3 of them. You've read 3 of them.
Warbreaker.
4. I'll give you 4.
Dancer.
That doesn't count.
It does.
No, it doesn't. It's not a whole book.
It's a novella.
It's a novella.
I did listen to that audiobook too.
I bought you Rhythm of War on audiobook.
I bought you Way of Kings.
That is true. This guy actually
got you started.
He got me started into reading again.
Knowledge.
So.
And then I was a hypocrite and didn't read it for like a year.
Oh, I know.
It's like, you got to read this book. I heard good things. it. Okay.
And then I sunk thousands.
Oh.
God.
Well,
Anyway, let us know what you think down in the comments below. See you next week.
been a fun one.
Bye.